Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kate Lambert Lee with MWR Battle Creek, and thank you for joining us for all things cruising. We're really happy to have you here. You'll also get to be the first to find out what our upcoming group cruise is, so you will be in the know before everybody else. Stephen Gales is our business manager for the ITR and Leisure Travel office. And for the last 10 years, he has been with DLA for 21 years, 20 with MWR, and he's worked in leisure travel for the past 12 and has been a CLIA certified cruise counselor for 10 years. In 2015, Stephen won DLA's MWR Facility and Program Excellence Award. He holds a BA in Tourism and Travel from Western Michigan. Also, just in the last couple months, he won the 2022 award for MWR Program Management. And and also in his free time, he enjoys traveling, especially cruising and watching more than 100 movies each year in theaters, which it might be down a little after the pandemic. Seems like a lot less movies are coming out. So, but he has always been able to answer any bizarre, specific question that I may have on any traveling item that I have. So he is definitely the subject matter expert. And if you're not aware, MWR Battle Creek's Leisure Travel Office, it's a full service travel agency, and we did over 1.275, was it? Or
257.
257 last year. So I don't think a lot of people realize the scope of what exactly Stephen and Angel and now are doing down there. So with all of that, welcome Stephen and welcome everybody else for joining us. Thank you. And we will put the presentation in a PDF momentarily so you can take notes if you like. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for all things cruising. Hopefully, this will be an insightful information session for you, and feel free at any point to hop on and ask questions. I'm assuming that the mics can be opened. Is that correct, Kate, during the presentation for questions?
Correct. I had muted mine. Sorry.
All right. Yep. And if anybody also wants to be on their cam so we can see who we're talking to, that's awesome as well. So thank you everyone for joining us. We'll get started here. Please note that the presentation is an overview of cruise vacations. No specific cruise line is being endorsed by the government or MWR. All right, we're gonna get started here. So when I have customers that come in and ask about cruising, most of the time they are first-time cruisers. And even some people that have cruised in the past, it may have been 15, 20 years ago, and the industry has changed quite a bit since then. So these are some of the common questions that we do get when it comes to cruising. And we're going to go through all of these questions throughout the presentation. So the main question that people want to know is, what is a cruise and what does it include? So cruising is an all-inclusive vacation that takes place on a large ship. And I always make this joke, don't call it a boat, because it's not really a boat, it's actually a ship. And we don't want to hurt its feelings. And it visits different ports of call, and it can visit different locations all throughout the world. Today's focus will be on ocean cruising, which is the most popular form of cruising. And what is included in a cruise? So the main things that are included are your accommodations, your food and non-alcoholic beverages. Sometimes with certain packages, alcohol is included, and entertainment and activities are included, and transportation to some of the most beautiful places on Earth. And of course, a license to have fun. So be ready for a fun adventure when you're going to be taking your cruise vacation. One of the first questions I get asked is, what is the best cruise line? And really, all cruise lines have different options, different opportunities for your vacation. So really, it can be uh, any of these great, fantastic cruise lines that we have as preferred suppliers. So top cruises that we book here at our location are Carnival Cruises, Disney Cruise Line, Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean International, Celebrity Cruises, Princess Cruises, Holland America Line, Costa Cruises, and Cunard. As I said, there are other cruise lines out there for ocean cruising, but these are the main ones that are preferred suppliers through our agency. The next thing that I usually ask my customers or that they ask me is, what room types are best option for my cruise? And balcony, is a balcony the best option? And then also with families or sometimes groups that want to travel together, they want to know what they can get for their best dollar, and they want to know how many people can fit in a room. So the different room types include interior or inside staterooms. That means that these generally do not have a window or balcony or any type of opening to the outside of the ship. Though there are some rare occasions where they will have a porthole or a small window in certain room categories. That is not a standard ocean view. So you can get a bonus window or something occasionally if it's in an odd spot on the ship. I know on many of the Carnival ships, at the front of the ship, they'll have usually a porthole or a small window. And they don't necessarily include that a full ocean view because it's not up to the standard of a full ocean view. So it is kind of a bonus to have that option. So the next category is an ocean view, and ocean views typically are on the lower level of the ship. Obviously, you can't have balconies too close to the water level. So they do have window rooms, and the windows are quite large. And most people are surprised by how large the windows are on an ocean view room, but we'll see pictures of that later on as well. Balcony or veranda staterooms. So you will have a standard stateroom or sometimes a little bit nicer stateroom depending on the size of the balcony category that you choose. And then there will be usually a sliding door, or depends on the ship, and a door that opens to a balcony outside of your room or veranda. Different ships, different companies call it different terminology. So balcony or veranda staterooms. And then the next category up from that are suites. Generally, suites come with concierge service and extras. So if you do get up into the suite categories on most cruise lines, you're going to get a little bit extra, but you're also paying that extra. Most suites also include some type of balcony or veranda as well. There are specialty suites and room categories on different ships. And there are some staterooms on certain cruise lines that are now offering solo rooms. I know Norwegian has a few ships that are offering that, as well as I actually visited one on the Royal Caribbean ship that I saw, or that I was on for my Alaska cruise last year in 2021. All right. So here's a standard interior stateroom or an inside stateroom. This is from a Carnival ship. I believe the next few are going to be from Carnival ships, but honestly, they're all pretty standard on most cruises. The decor and stuff may be updated, coloring of the flooring, the bedding, artwork and stuff may be different on different ships. The more modern ships tend to have more of a blue theme to them, but this is a pretty standard room. So as you can see here from the layout of the interior room, there are 2 beds that you can have if you are going with a friend, or maybe you just don't like to sleep next to the other person. You can have the beds generally separated, or you can have them pushed together into a king size bed. And then there's a bathroom and usually a vanity, which you can see as on the outside of the bathroom there along that wall. And then on the other wall will be a closet area Plenty of room to put clothes and stuff. And then usually you would put your luggage underneath the bed. There's plenty of room underneath the bed to slide any luggage or extra stuff that you don't want to have, out in the main part of the floor. This room, I believe, generally does have a lot of the rooms do have a small refrigerator in them as well. If you need a refrigerator for medical reasons, like to hold your medicine or something like that, they can also be usually requested in case they do not have one. This is an ocean view stateroom. As I said, window is quite large. So you have a good view of the outside. The picture below does show, you can see a door there on the left-hand side. This would be an adjoining stateroom. So there are staterooms that are also adjoining. So if you have a family that wants to be connected or with their friends or other family, then you can usually request that, or we can try to set that up for you as well. As you can see, this vanity here on the left is on the left side of the room, large mirror. There are usually cubbies and storage spaces. And there's usually an ice bucket that your stateroom attendant can fill every evening or throughout the day as you need. This room also, as you can see, has a couch. So there's a couch and a little coffee table for you to put some information on, or just store your stuff on whenever you get back to your room, all your souvenirs and stuff that you collect throughout your trip. This here is a balcony stateroom. So as you can see, pretty standard to the ocean view. Even the interior rooms, they're about the same size. They can be a little bit larger. It just depends on the ship. But this room is got a door that opens. This one doesn't have the sliding door, but it opens up to a balcony where you have 2 chairs out there and another little table to set your drinks or book on if you're reading. And they're good. It's a good amount of space. It looks maybe kind of tight in the picture, but really it is a nice amount of space. As you can see too, this room type is a standard ocean view. So it does have the glass for the view. So you can sit in your room and see the ocean from your room. And there are some balcony staterooms that they're called cove balconies and on some ships, and those generally do not have the view with the glass railing. It is it's a cove because it is kind of enclosed. So they do have like a metal structure that goes around the outside, and you have more of just a window that you can walk out to and look out the window to the ocean. So. And then we also have the suite category, and suites can have all different types of configurations. So there are the balconies, as you can see on the outside. This one has a separate seating area to the left with a couch. So all different types of room options when it comes to suites. Here's some more suite options. On the one on the lower level is actually from a Royal Caribbean ship. So there's that option as well. That one is a double layered. So you can see there's an upper level. That's probably where the where the bedroom is. And then down below is a seating area, a dining area. So this is actually quite of a luxury type suite option. And then we have our studio staterooms. These are the ones I mentioned that are a little bit smaller, and they're good for solo travelers. So this option also has on many of the Norwegian ships, they offer this area for solo guests to meet and hang out if they prefer. It's not necessarily like for a singles cruise, but a lot of those times those people are just traveling by themselves and want to meet other people. And if they do, this is an opportunity for a lounge for them that's exclusive to those solo travelers. And then there are special family rooms on some cruises. So they may have multiple beds in them. As you can see, this lower level here has bunk beds that fold down. So these rooms will sleep 4, sometimes 5 people with a trundle bed that can be pulled out for underneath. And then the top picture is from a Disney ship that actually offers a tub. So if you have children that aren't really great at taking a shower, they're able to have that option to be in a tub. So, and then, so the next after the accommodations is people want to know what can we expect in terms of food, what options are there. So one thing that cruising is known for is having basically unlimited options. We have gotten notification recently from some of the cruise lines that they are buckling down on things like room service, and the number of meals that you can order at dinner. Before it was pretty much unlimited, you could have what you wanted, but they're finding that there is a lot of food waste, and so some of them are kind of buckling down and charging extra for some of these things. Obviously, with the state of the economy and inflation, some of those things are also just being looked at right now as as the price of those things go up. They don't want there to be a lot of waste when the cost of food is going up. So but in general, you pretty much can eat what you want whenever you want. Some of it just may cost a little extra now, but your main dining is usually is included. You'll have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner option that's all included. And then usually there's a buffet for lunch and breakfast, and dinner on most cruises. And then so throughout the day, there will be an option such as brunch on a sea day, because usually if they're at port, that means they won't necessarily open up the dining room for a brunch or a breakfast service, because the people are going to be off the ship, so they're not really going to offer that option. So the best option there would be to go to the buffet. And then so there are specialty dining restaurants that are not included. So if you want to upgrade and have like a really nice steak dinner, or possibly some of the cruise lines have different themed restaurants. So they may have an Italian restaurant or an Asian restaurant. You can spend extra, pay to go to those dining options. And usually they're really nice extra meals, but they're nice to have for if you're going to celebrate maybe an anniversary or a birthday on the cruise. You can pay that, $30 to $40 more to have a really, really, really nice meal. And then they also have usually a Starbucks or a specialty cafe for specialty drinks for those people that want those options. And then they also usually offer treats there, like, different dessert options like cakes or brownies or cookies. So there's a bunch of different options, and usually those do cost extra, but they're not usually overly priced. They're pretty reasonable, and it's not like going to like a amusement park where you're paying like $4 for a water. They actually are reasonably priced items because they know that you've already spent for most other food. You've already paid for that. So it's just a little bit of an upgrade to pay for these extra options. Usually cruises like I said, all include non-alcoholic beverages, which is usually the tea, water, lemonade. In the morning, it'll be juices and so we have Disney Cruise Line that does offer soda packages. So the soda is included on Disney Cruise Line. So some of them will have different options that are included that the other ones don't, but you may pay a little more for that. So here are some pictures that I have taken on my cruises of the different buffets and different options that the cruises have for food. So as you can see, plenty of options. Many of them have a European feel to them. So you may see in the top left picture, they have the meat and cheese trays, and they'll usually be there for every meal because that's common, I guess, in Europe. So, so they'll have meat and cheese and things like that that are not typical American fare. And so they do have some unique twists to their buffets. And usually every day it's kind of something a little bit different, and they'll have different options for each lunch and each dinner. You can see a burrito bar here where it's kind of like a Qdoba, where they will be, they offer a selection of stuff to put into your burrito, and they make it for you in front of you. So here are some other wonderful confections that I had on a Royal Caribbean ship on my Alaska cruise last year. And this is a picture of one of the main dining rooms on one of the Carnival ships. All right, so the next question is, what are the fun things that you can do on a cruise? And a lot of people aren't sure what all is included when it comes to the entertainment and the fun activities that are available. And most of those activities are free on cruises. So every evening, there's usually a nightly entertainment. So there's stage shows, they have karaoke, they may have a comedy show or live music throughout the ship in the different bars or lounges. So there's a lot of options there for things to do. And these activities can happen throughout the day as well. So if you're on a sea day, they may have, a certain time of the day where they have karaoke available in one of the lounges. And then they also have casinos and bingo on board. So the only cruise ships that don't generally have casinos are the Disney Cruise Line. So everyone else, pretty much all of them have casinos on them. The pools and hot tubs are available. Some of them have water parks and water slides or different activities for for adults. They have like pool only or adult only areas that have pools or hot tubs that kids won't be able to have access to. So those are kind of nice. We also have sports courts, so basketball, volleyball, putt-putt golf, table tennis, and lots of more. So as these ships are coming out and getting bigger, there's a lot more activities that are being added to these ships. So you can go on and look at some of these large ships that are opening now, and you'll see they have rope courses, rock climbing walls, down at the bottom here, I've listed some of them are even now having roller coasters on them, bumper cars, or even go-kart tracks. So they're really like floating cities, like floating resorts with lots and lots of extra activities for families to enjoy. There are times that some of these do cost a little bit extra, but like I said, they're usually reasonably priced. It might be a few dollars just to access one of these things. Where if you go to a local place here, it might be like $15 to $20. You may be able to just do some of these for like $5. So it really just depends on the ship, and sometimes they're included. So, but most of these things are free when it comes to like, just the access to the volleyball, basketball courts, the putt-putt golf courses. That stuff is all usually free. There's nightclubs, dancing classes, art galleries. Art is very big on cruises. They have tons of art sessions, and they have all kinds of art auctions and stuff. Those will a lot of times will have free champagne or something like that included with it. So a lot of people like to go that just for the free extras that they give. And a lot of times they have good, they have giveaways as well. So those are to entice people obviously to come and see the art and hopefully purchase. And then they have food and wine tastings that you can schedule as well. They have arcades and kid only club areas. They have a kids pool, teen nightclubs, video games areas, and you'll see those in some pictures coming up. Spas and adult only decks, as I mentioned. So those are like on Carnival, they call them the Serenity deck. Royal Caribbean has them as well. So they have areas that are only for adults. So you don't have to worry about screaming kids being near you. They also have fitness centers and classes available. And then like for spa treatments, you can have pedicures, massages. They do hair and makeup. So if you're having a formal night, they'll do your hair and makeup for you. They have body wraps, or they'll have different spa services that are exclusive, like special spas or saunas or different things that you can get treatments in. So those are nice to have as well. So manicures, pedicures, all of that is usually available as well. Movie theaters and IMAX on some ships as well. But some of the larger, newer ships have like an IMAX option on them, which is kind of cool. And a lot of them play first run movies just like they do here on land. So even like Disney, I know like when they have a movie premiering on land, you know, so like there's the Strange World movie that's coming up in November, late November, early December. They will also usually premiere that on their ship at their movie theater. And then they have daily scheduled activities like trivia is really popular. So they'll have multiple trivia sessions throughout the day. I've seen where they have name that tune trivia or Friends trivia or The Office trivia, different themed trivias, which is kind of fun. And they usually give out prizes and little trophies or medals for the people who win those competitions. They have hairy chest competitions, ice carving, all different kinds of activities. So if you're thinking, what am I going to do on this ship on a day when I'm at sea? You can go and lay by the pool and enjoy that, or read a book if you want, or take advantage of some of these options that are out there for you on the ship. Here are some pictures of different activities. So there's live stage shows, as I mentioned. There's a casino in the bottom left there. The lip sync battle competition, that's usually a specialty show one evening that's on. And those a lot of times they'll have a audience participation. So they'll pick somebody on the cruise to come and do the lip sync battle. And it kind of makes it fun for the audience to engage with, you know, different, maybe they're from a group of people that are on the ship. And so really it's just a fun way to interact with the other people that are enjoying the show on the ship. So here's views of the Serenity deck in the bottom left corner there, the main pool. And as you can see, there's a water slide here on this ship as well. These are all pictures, except for the bottom left one. The other two are pictures that I have taken on ships that I've been on. As you can see here on the left in the pool area there's a bar area on the left and a bar area on the right. This is common on many of the Carnival cruises. One of them is red, Blue Iguana is usually on the right side there, and then Red Frog Pub is on the left-hand side. So kind of some fun options there. And they have other lounges and bars throughout the ship as well. As you can see on the left here is a piano bar that's common on some of the Carnival ships. And bottom left there that's a main promenade deck. So that's where on the right is the specialty coffee shop. And then just past that is like the arcade and different activities and stuff, and other lounges and bars down that main promenade area. I always mention this on this presentation. Everybody always like, why is there a little kid at the bar? With Carnival, they do have the soda pass. You can see he's handing the card to the server there, and they can order their drinks, their soda package right at the bar. So the kid is more than likely getting a soda from his soda package that his parents have purchased for him. And then here on the left is the Ovation of the Seas, one of the cruise ships with Royal Caribbean. This is the one I went out of Seattle to Alaska on. And they have this, I forget what they call it, but it's like an observation ball that it's got an arm that goes up into the sky. I think it's like 100 or 150 feet. And it allows you to give aerial views. So when we would go into port at the different locations, you could go into that. I think it costs like $10 or $15 to go in and ride it up to get aerial views of the port that we were visiting. So kind of a cool feature on that ship. As you can see, that's one of the main pool decks. And then on the right-hand side is the video game area, Xbox One video game area that was available for everyone to use. And just outside of that area was actually where the bumper cars were. So there was a whole, it was a sports court, and then they could put down these panels to make it a bumper car area as well. So they had like a full basketball court, and then they were able to play soccer on the basketball court. They were playing volleyball. And then, like I said, at certain times they had it scheduled to be bumper cars, so you could go in and use the bumper cars. On the other side, there was foosball tables and um, um, I believe billiard tables, different options over there. So it was a very kid-friendly area. This is one of their newer, larger ships, so lots of different options here as well. Oh, there, I didn't realize I had that picture there. So there's the pod that's up in the sky there. I believe that's while we were in Juneau, if I remember correctly. And then there's the ball court, as you can see, basketball hoops throughout, and then they turn it into an option for the bumper cars. And then this has a flow rider as well. So if you wanted to do surfing on the flow rider, you could do that as well. And then other things that you can do is shore excursions. They have towel animals. So the towel animals, sometimes they have towel animal classes. And just viewing the scenery. So on the picture in the top right is one of the icebergs or the, I'm drawing a blank on what that's called, but so yes, somebody wants to pop on and refresh my mind what that is, but so this was a train excursion that we took up into the mountains in, I believe that was in Skagway. And then the yeah, the views of it's an iceberg, right? Anyway, so anyway, beautiful views in Alaska. Definitely a cruise that I recommend. These are the kids club areas on a lot of the carnival ships. They have them named as different. The stingrays and the sharks are for the different age groups. And as you can see, they have activities and different things planned. Usually have chaperones for all the different age groups, and then activities planned throughout the week or however many days for that. So. All right. So another thing that people want to ask is, where is the best place to go, or what is the best island to visit? And really, it kind of just depends on where you're leaving from. And because if you go out of, let's say, like New Orleans or Galveston, you're more than likely just going to be on the Western Caribbean side. So you're only going to have a few options. And then if you go out of the Eastern Caribbean side, so somewhere out of like Miami or Tampa, even Tampa, a lot of times because it's on the Gulf side, will go more Western. But they do a lot of times have options to go Eastern Caribbean. It just takes a little longer to get there. So typically those are usually cruises out of Port Canaveral or Miami or Fort Lauderdale. And they have mixed itineraries with, 3 and 4 day cruises are probably just going to go to the Bahamas. And then on your 6th day or longer, you may be able to hit some of those other options. So usually if you go out of Miami, they'll do like a 7-day, that'll go to the Western Caribbean. And then the next week it'll do Eastern Caribbean. So really the best island to visit is any island that has beach, rum, and no sharks. And I guess, I always make this joke too. It's okay. Maybe the sharks are okay. So, but cruising to all of these islands is really just a preference of kind of what you want to see, what you want to experience. And I can help you, choose those options based on what I know that you want to do. So in the Caribbean, there are the main islands that most of the cruise lines go to are on a Southern Caribbean, you're going to go to Aruba. Jamaica will be on generally a Western Caribbean itinerary. Grand Turk is usually Eastern Caribbean. Bahamas is either a Bahamas cruise or Eastern Caribbean. Grand Cayman is usually a Western Caribbean option. St. Martin, St. Thomas, and Puerto Rico, all Eastern Caribbean options. But there are other locations that you can go to, like there are like Royal Caribbean goes to Haiti, or Curacao on Southern Caribbean, or Bonaire. So there's a lot of different options. And I can help you through that process, choosing where you would like to go. For Mexico, you can either do Cozumel, Costa Maya, or Progreso are common locations that are along the Gulf side of Mexico. If you do go on the Mexican Riviera side, you would be doing Cabo San Lucas or Mazatlan or Puerto Vallarta. So those would be the options that are generally available on the Mexican Riviera that go out of Southern California. You can also, on some Panama Canal cruises, visit Central America. So you can go to Belize, Honduras, Guatemala. There are Western Caribbean itineraries that include usually Cozumel, Belize, and Honduras. Even on the Panama Canal cruises, they'll usually stop in Costa Rica or Guatemala as well. So it just depends on how long of a itinerary that you have to visit those islands. Alaska and British Columbia, Canada and New England cruises are also available. In the Mediterranean, you can go to Spain, Italy, or Greece, or possibly some of the other locations along the Mediterranean as well. Again, it just depends, but the most common ones usually hit Spain, Italy, Greece. Hawaiian or South American and Galapagos cruises are also available. Those are generally available through like Princess Cruise Lines or maybe Celebrity. They have some more specialty type cruises. Asian, Australian, and New England or New Zealand cruises are also available. Australia just is opening back up after COVID, so that's becoming a popular destination again. What do we do when we get to the ports of call? So most ports of call have all different types of adventures. Your excursions are an add-on that gives you the opportunity to see what each port is about. And popular excursions include sightseeing tours, shopping tours, ATV and adventure tours, beach days and tours including snorkeling and scuba diving, party boat cruises, all-inclusive resort visits, zip lining and cave diving, educational or arts tours, swimming with the dolphins or rays, and food and wine tours. So usually the excursions do cost extra. They can usually start anywhere from around $25 and easily go up to $150, $200 if you're going to be doing maybe the swimming with the dolphins. If you go to Alaska and you're going to do like a helicopter tour, some of those are even upwards of $250, $300. It just depends on where you're going and how much is included. But there's lots of options at the ports. You don't always have to book through the cruise line either. You can do some on-site tours when you walk off the ships. They may have like a walking tour of the city, and those are usually fairly safe to do in the amount of time given, because you can just walk off and do like a 2-hour tour because the ship will be at port for usually 6, 8, 10 hours. So that'll give you plenty of time to do that. It just depends. Some of the other excursions, if you're going to see the Mayan ruins or something, sometimes it's a 2 to 3 hour bus ride out there. You get an hour or two there and then a 2 to 3 hour bus ride back, and obviously you're going to have limited amounts of time. So I do recommend booking those through the cruise line, because if you do, the cruise line is going to keep the ship there if you're running behind. But if you're on a private tour, you will not be able to get back on the ship in time, because they're not gonna hold it for you. So you're gonna have some issues. So I do recommend booking through the cruise lines, but if you're doing something that may be a couple hours in the middle of the time that you're at the port, or if you're able to leave it, soon after you get into port, sometimes doing a local tour is a better option. But obviously weigh those pros and cons to see what would fit for you and what you're comfortable doing. But most of the ports do have a lot of shopping and restaurants, bars, different activities that you can do. Sometimes they're right at a beach. Some of the ports are also private islands that are included as part of your port. So Yeah. So sorry, I wanted to make sure I didn't include that. So like if you go to on Royal Caribbean's Coco Key, they have an exclusive island that's theirs. It has a water park on it. They have their own beaches. When you get off, you can eat at the island, and that is all included. So Royal Carnival has their own island, or a couple of their private islands actually, or private stops that Princess Keys is one of them that offers the dining when you get off at the port, and they have their own beach right there. Sometimes you have to do an excursion to get to a beach, or get a taxi to go to a beach, because the port isn't always right at a beach. So it just depends, but I'll be able to help you through that process and let you know, like if you really want a beach, this tour or this itinerary might be a better option for you than going through a different island or a different itinerary. A lot of people ask how long cruises last, and really, if you want, you can go on one that can last up to 6 months. But the most popular cruises are usually 7 days or less. So they can be booked for a various number of nights. Anywhere from 3 to 8 nights is common. And sometimes if you do like a back-to-back or a special itinerary, there will be 10 or 14 nights. So it really just depends, but the most common ones I sell are usually 4 to 7 nights is usually my most common ones. If you're somebody that lives like in Florida or near a port, doing those 3-night options for like a long weekend or something are something that is an option for you. But generally, if you're traveling from Michigan, most people are wanting at least a 4-night option for their cruise. While on board, how do I pay for stuff? So usually they're a cashless system. So you use your ID that they give you when you get on the ship, and you can use that to pay for items as you as you go along. So you can pay for your gift shop purchases, your specialty dining and cafes, spa services and fitness classes, if there's a fee required, your casino and bingo games. Obviously, gratuities is something that I do recommend paying in advance if you can, but if not, they will add those on to your cruise while you're on it if you have not prepaid them. You can also tip additional. So if you had really good service and you want to add on a tip to somebody, maybe you're at a pool and they made a special effort to come make sure that they came and take care of you, you can add gratuities to those purchases as well. But anything that you purchase while on the ship, excursions, photos, any of that stuff can be paid for right through your account, and it's a cashless system. Some people that don't have credit cards or don't want to use credit cards can put a certain amount of cash with them before they get on board, and then if you put 500 on your account, they'll let you know if you're starting to get close to that, because obviously they're not going to let you spend more than that $500 that you've put in. So how large are the ships? Well, they can be anywhere from 850 feet for the smaller end of the ships, and then up to 1181, and that number is going to get bigger. Some of these cruise ships that they're coming out with now are going to be even larger than that. On the left here is the Ovation of the Seas that I took to the Alaska. So that ship, I believe, had around 5,300 passengers, and with crew upwards of 8,000 to 9,000 people that are on that ship at full capacity. Smaller ships can have around 2,000 passengers, with another 1,000 to 1,500 crew members. So it just depends. On the right hand side here are 2 different Carnival ships. Looks like Carnival Liberty and Carnival Sunshine, I believe. So you can see even them, they're a little bit different in size, and all of them have different types of features. So another current and popular question, and everybody, this is obviously ever changing, but what are the current COVID-19 protocols for cruising? Most cruise lines right now have dropped the majority of their COVID-19 testing and vaccination requirements. There are some exceptions for longer cruises or cruises that go to certain destinations or islands. They may have different requirements at those islands for testing and all of that. So if you are going to like, and I believe it's been dropped, but like for a while there, Bermuda, even the Bahamas had some restrictions longer than some of the other islands. So if they're an island that just has rules that that they won't allow people that are not vaccinated, then that'll be listed. But the majority of them have now gone away from that. The only stipulation is a lot of the longer cruises. So if it's more than like a 10-day or like a 14-day cruise, some of those Panama Canal cruises, I just had friends that got off of one that were 16 days. They required a vaccination or testing for those patrons. So, but they are trying to still keep things safe. Usually they offer masks in the rooms, and they are doing things like, signage for social distancing, trying to keep capacity limits in crowded areas, offering washing of hands or sanitization at the buffets, or changing out the spoons, or they may not have you have direct access to the plates. They may hand them to you. So there's different things like that that they're also trying to do to keep their guests safe during these times. So each cruise line has their protocols listed at the top of their website. I went to 4 or 5 different websites just to verify what their current protocols were, and all 5 of them at the very top of the page above anything else had their COVID-19 protocols listed. The link here is for CDC guidance on cruise ships, and gives you kind of information of things that they have recommended to the cruise lines to follow. But other than that, that's kind of where we're at with COVID-19. It's kind of a moving target. We never know when things start spiking again, what rules and things they'll put in place. But for now, with having vaccinations, having treatments, it seems as though we're moving away from a lot of those stringent protocols. All right, and don't let that next ship leave without you. We have lots and lots of opportunities to go on cruises. These are a couple photos that I took on our Alaskan cruise, and beautiful scenery there. Definitely a top destination that I recommend trying to visit if you can. Here is that cruise offer that this is the first that anyone is seeing it. So we have our December 3rd, 2023. It's a 6-night Western Caribbean cruise from Miami, Florida on the Carnival Horizon. That is one of their newer ships, and it starts at $385 per person for an interior room. The balcony category is a cove balcony starting at $615. I believe that the regular balcony was at $680, $685 possibly. If you have a third or fourth person in the room, they would be $169 each. So it brings down the average cost per person if you have a third or fourth person added to your room. Exclusive option is a $100 onboard credit with this group, as long as we get to a 500 or 5 cabin booking on our group. As you can see down below there, government taxes and port fees up to $145.27. That's what the rate is right now. It can go up or down. Generally, I've never had it go up on me, and I've been on 13 cruises. If anything, it usually goes down. If the price does go down for the taxes and port fees, you would get that difference given to you as an onboard credit through your account. And then if you have any questions, this would be the time to start asking.
The flyer also is available for download in the chat if anybody would like to download that, as well as the presentation.
So I may have missed it, but did you mention, is there a best time of year to cruise?
I could barely hear you. I'm not for sure if it's my speakers or what it is, but I think you asked what the best time of year to cruise is.
Correct, best time of year.
Really, honestly, it just depends on the destination that you want to go to. So like obviously, for Royal Caribbean, or sorry, for for Alaska, you would want to the season starts usually late April sometimes, early May through September. During COVID, they even went into October, so they may be extending their season because it is high demand location. But in general, it would be a the best time would obviously be July timeframe for warmth for Alaska. If you go at the end or the beginning of the season though, a lot of times it's less expensive to go during that time. Obviously it's going to be cooler temperatures. At the end of the season, it's kind of nice too, because at the end of the season, you're going to get deals and stuff on your souvenirs and all of that, because shops will be closing for the year. So that's another a good question for if you're going to a destination that is seasonal. If you go towards the end, you're going to get those good deals on those kinds of things. Generally, for pricing wise, the best option for pricing is usually the week after Thanksgiving through the first 2 weeks of December. So that's one of the reasons why I choose the December timeframe before the holidays. It's just a popular, not as popular of a time to go because it's before the holidays and between the holidays, and a lot of people are already using vacation time for the holidays. So for whatever reason, for vacationing in general, those are some of the best times to get pricing. But cruises especially, their best pricing is generally from that week after Thanksgiving to the first 2 weeks of December. Also, January and February timeframe. So for us Michiganders, a great time to go, because usually by February, everybody wants out of Michigan with the cold weather and the snow. So February and January are also a lower price time to cruise in general. You can sometimes get lower prices like in September, even into October and November timeframes because of hurricane season. But obviously there's risk there, which is why the prices can be a little bit lower occasionally. Usually seasonally, like Canada and New England cruises are only in August, September, October timeframe. So again, there's different seasonal cruises and different options, but really you can cruise year round. But for pricing wise, late November, early December, and then January and February is the best time. Any other questions?
Hey, Steven, I've been seeing a lot of great deals on Norwegian. They have a lot of all-inclusive. Do you offer that? Do you have access to that side as well?
So I do offer Norwegian cruises. And I actually just looked last night for Norwegian cruises for our group cruise, because I tried to take in all of the options. A lot of times why I choose, I will just be honest, and one of the reasons I choose Carnival is they tend to be the least expensive option. And they also so for first time cruisers, Carnival, Royal Caribbean and Norwegian are very similar in what they offer. And the feedback that I get from my customers is very similar for them. Norwegian does have all-inclusive. Even Royal Caribbean sometimes has those types of similar offers. And it's a little bit hidden with the cost. So check with me on pricing for those things, because it may appear as though, beverage packages for alcohol on cruises generally does cost extra. And they may say that they're included, but there's a lot of times there's fees that are added on to those packages that are all inclusive. So I don't want to like put the cruise lines down for not necessarily being upfront with their pricing, but there are hidden costs that they may say, yeah, the drink package is free, but you're going to pay this much in gratuities or fees behind the scenes for these options that aren't going to show up until you actually go through the pricing process. So, but I'm not saying there isn't value added there. There's a lot of value added, but you may be paying more than what appears in their advertising and stuff. So see me about that, and I can kind of walk you through that payment pricing options. But yes,
Okay,
we
I'm
do-
coming to see you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Looks like we're quiet. I don't see anything in our chat. Does anybody that doesn't want to talk have any questions in the chat? You can post in the chat as well.
I don't see any, but thank you. That makes me want to go on a cruise
All
again.
right.
So
right, well,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Stephen.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. And I am located here in the ITR 2-1-66 at the Federal Center. And then here's my contact information. Let me click back on here. My phone number and our website and our Facebook page, as well as my email address. So if you need to contact me, want to know more about the group cruise, I have some flyers here for some of the cruise lines, brochures with itineraries, and I can help you through that process as well.